welcome to The Real Men of Real Estate here on KCAA Radio. You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM or 106.5 FM, as well as 1050 AM. We also have the entire list of shows and everything that's going on at the station, as well as recordings at kcaaradio.com. So take a minute, check it out, and see what's going on. Today, I have Alec Mannochio with me, a long-term flipper here in San Diego, and someone I've gotten to know fairly well as things are going on. And he's got an interesting history in that he also used to own an appraisal company. So I wanted to talk to him today about the market shifts and kind of what we're seeing. Things have gotten pretty different pretty quick. So I think we've got a lot of really neat history to cover. And also, what's working now and how do we keep it moving? So welcome, Alec. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me on, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. It's great to have you here. So you started, in this real estate game, in 2005 as an appraiser?
Yeah. It was actually 2002. I had a little bit of had a little bit of real estate experience in Boston before I moved out to San Diego. Just basically renting apartments in downtown Boston. But I got approached in end of 2001. A buddy had started to get into the appraisal business. He was overwhelmed because at that point, a loan officer was suffering through probably a 3-week wait to get an appraisal.
Wow.
To get a refi.
And that's before even the 2005 when it really heated up.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I didn't realize it was that bad that early.
Yeah, it was real bad then. There just wasn't enough appraisers. So I got my license and joined him. And we had a good system going where we would approach loan officers, and our pitch was to tell them we could get it back in 2 days. And most of the time we had it back to them in 24 hours. So the business just exploded. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Everybody called you from there on.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you do that? I mean, that sounds like a lot of work.
Just sheer effort. Yeah. I mean, there was some 100-hour work weeks.
Wow.
At the time I was single and just had plenty of time. I quit my job that I was working after a couple of weeks just because I couldn't handle them both. But we had, I think our best week, I think we eclipsed 200 appraisals per week. Yeah. So we built a crew and had some a bunch of guys underneath us, and we actually moved up through Riverside, LA, and Orange County at one point at the height.
Holy cow. That's a huge business. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. 10 employees in the office in Lake Beach, and then guys in the field. So about 20 people were managing total. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's the thing.
Pretty crazy.
That's amazing. I gotta ask then, I mean, things kind of kept on moving. When did you get out of that and why?
So I had my daughter in 2006, and by that point, the appraisers started to catch up with the work.
I see.
It was a pretty small window. I mean, we went, about 3 years, it was really hot and heavy, and it kind of tailed out, and I made enough money to kind of sit on the sidelines for a little bit and enjoy my daughter. And so I sold the business, my half of the business, to an employee who ran it into the ground, didn't realize, you needed to be out there marketing and bringing in business was the biggest thing. So
running a business is a way different thing than appraising or flipping or anything else. People miss that.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay.
So it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think my buddy approached me because I had kind of this little eBay thing going where I was buying vintage auto parts and reselling them. So it was the valuing something, kind of fit real well. There's just a couple more zeros on the end of the price tag. So
right. Well, you're still kind of into that. I know you're always looking for parts to trade.
Yeah. It's more full on hobby now. So, so So yeah, history wise, I sold it off in 2007 or so.
Okay.
And then I actually chased down that hobby of the vintage car parts and tried to do something there, and it didn't stick so well. So
Oh,
by
it's a totally
two,
different business, I suppose, huh?
yeah, we were reproducing parts, and it just,
Oh, really? Wow. No
yeah, it
kidding.
was, yeah, overseas kind of, yeah. So
Well, that's kind of crazy. Holy smokes.
yeah, so by 2009, I was sniffing what, I had kind of like sidestepped the market,
Hmm.
falling apart. The appraisal business was a whole different animal. I didn't want to go back into that. I don't know if the management companies had come into play just yet, but it was right
Uh-huh.
around there where you as a loan officer couldn't go directly to an appraiser. You had to be
Right.
funneled through a management company, so there wasn't any
Right.
impropriety or,
Yeah, the conflict of interest issues. Yeah, sure.
sure,
That
sure.
makes sense. I
So
mean, a lot of things had to change at that point. There's just a crash like that.
big time.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, everyone I knew that was either had worked for me in the past or colleagues in the appraisal business were like, it's just not worth it anymore,
Yeah,
And now, of course, we had such a lower number of appraisers for the business, and that
sure.
totally flip-flopped because everyone got in at
Right. Too many
2003, 4,
appraisers
5.
and yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. So
That's
um,
fascinating. I mean, I kind of knew the general story, but some of the detail, no, it's
yeah, yeah.
wow.
So
Right place, right time, good
for
ideas,
sure,
worked hard.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Put in a lot
Wow.
of time and effort and got a lot of experience on valuing property. So
Yeah, you
led
use that to
led
this day.
led to the next step, whereas
Yeah.
started sniffing around what's going on. I like the idea of the foreclosure auctions.
Hmm.
Took a
That was still
course.
when you got to go down to the court steps, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Oh
fun.
boy.
It was a ball. The next like 3 or 4 years was so much fun. Went to class with Ward Hannigan.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Great San
Ward
Diego guy,
from way back. Yeah.
sharp guy. Yeah, and took his course and then started implementing it. And I think the first flip we bought at the auction was 2010. And I think it was right at the beginning of the year. It was a little
Okay.
condo in Santee,
Hmm.
and I was basically the day before valuing the property, from a list, and then going out that morning early and seeing if they were vacant or not,
Uh-huh.
and
Right. Yeah. So
then
walk the property as much as you can,
for
right?
sure,
Do all your
yeah,
homework and then show up for the auction.
yeah, and then I actually did the bidding on that one too. So I had a couple guys who threw in. I think the end price was just over 100 grand, right?
Oh my God.
To purchase, and we put a couple bucks into it and
Uh-huh.
sold it,
Well, it's
and
when
we,
you could rehab a condo back then for like what, 15, maybe 20 bucks a square foot,
yeah,
if we're gonna
yeah.
use
I
a
mean,
very bad metric, but
it was an 800 square foot, two
oh
bedroom,
man.
one
So you
bath.
put 12, 15K into it.
I don't even think that much because we did most of it ourselves. We just
Yeah.
like
Oh,
blew
wow.
through it. That was the first one, and I could tell you, yeah, Ward was an awesome teacher, great training,
Uh-huh.
but nothing prepares you for winning the auction, giving the auctioneer, I think his name was Jay down at the time, everyone knew Jay, and giving him $110,000 of someone else's money
Right.
and leaving with a little receipt. It's like,
Oh man.
wow, what just happened? So
Yeah, right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now you hope you don't go back and try and open that door and find people in there and then deal with
right.
that.
Yeah, there was all
Holy
that.
crap.
It was just so kind of new
Wow.
and the beginning stages of that it went good. And we ended up finding some money and partners. And,
Uh-huh.
I think we probably, if I had to guess, probably bought between 2010 and say 14. It was when it was really active. We probably bought about 100 houses, somewhere in that range,
Dang.
in those years at auction.
Hmm.
So yeah, and it was just a lot of fun because you'd look on Monday, you'd look for Tuesday, on the computer, go out during the day, find the vacant ones, try to talk to some owners or some neighbors if they were there. And then the next day go bid. And if you didn't win any bids, just start it all
You
over
do it again, right?
Yeah.
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 Sooner or later, everybody who needs a project gets one, and
Yeah.
you'll get one too.
Yeah. Yeah. I would get one within 2 weeks, usually
Yeah.
when I started rolling good. Because there was, at the height, there would be, I think the heaviest day was 450 auctions were
Holy
scheduled
smokes.
to go
Whoa.
to sale in San Diego County in one day. Not a
Wow.
week or anything. Yeah.
Right. No, that's just obscene though. Holy cow.
Yeah. It was nuts.
I mean, I
plenty
think we
for
all knew
everyone.
it was a time, and it was busy and all that, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
those are
It
some
was
numbers.
pretty crazy. Yeah. Staggering numbers.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've been at flipping, finding deals, so since about 2010.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you've always kind of been a solopreneur on this side of it. You didn't really have a business partner. You've always tried to figure it out yourself. You
Yeah.
like it better that way?
Yeah. A lot of times I do. The first maybe 10 deals I did with a couple of partners at the auction, and people complained and they weren't making enough money or not, so that got peeled away. And I, through a broker friend of mine, I found a money guy who was pretty hands off, and hey, I need 500 grand. Okay, I'll meet you at the bank in 20 minutes. So it's worked really well. So that's when we started doing a lot of them. I think at one point had holding on to like 8 or 10 properties, a couple in sale escrow, a couple we just bought, a couple we're trying to evict someone or that kind of thing. So so gained a lot of experience, really quickly in that environment. So and then we peeled off from him in 2015, I think.
Okay.
And then I've been just myself, since then. So
wow.
Yeah.
So you've had a pretty good run at it then.
Yeah,
All right.
for sure. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot that goes on,